So this is my Taurus Model 608 357 Magnum, and oh, that's PC parts are right here. Getting a bath, getting scrubbed, scrub-a-dub-dub, 357 in the tub. It just gets a little dirty being holstered and doing all the stuff I do outside. So I'm having to do a little bit of cleanup on it. A little bit more than normal, just because I haven't done it for a while. And certainly needed it. You know, especially when I'm out doing stuff in anything outside really. Trees, yard, mowing, chipping, shredding, you know, stuff being exposed, holstered, it just has a tendency to get a little bit dirty. So I got to clean it up and put it back together again. This is my pretty much go-to pocket knife. Actually, it's not a pocket knife. I have a sheath for it that I wear on my belt. But I've had it for a few years now, a number of years, and I do keep it. It's already got a pretty good edge on it, but let me show you here something. So it's pretty much my go-to. I do have quite a collection of knives, though, if you will. Not quite. I guess it's all relative. More than the average, but certainly not a lot as compared to true aficionados. And this is an old timer. I don't know if you can read that. The light's pretty poor in here. No, you can see that. So it's an old timer. But I like it because it's thin. Blade is pretty decent. I keep it, cleaned. I sharpen it probably once a month. When I say sharpen it, I just kind of keep the edge, keep an edge on it. It's pretty sharp right now. But I use it quite often for various things. Now, what do I use to sharpen my knives with? I have various stones and all, but this one, once I have an edge on it, this is what I use, because you can see it's got 4,000 and 8,000 grit, so really smooth. So I'll run it a bit on the 4,000, and then flip it to the 8, which is smooth, man. That 8,000 grit is really smooth. And then upstairs, what I have is I have a strop, but it's affixed to a piece of wood about the same size as this, and it's kind of a felty leather that's kind of impregnated with olive oil, of all things. And so I'll run it on that for a few times, and man, it puts a nice edge on stuff. So I did my 357 yesterday, and tore it down, put it back together, and I think I was up till 132 fussing with it. The trigger spring was giving me a hard time, and it was fussing with me, so it took me a little while to get it. I didn't realize you had to be a sideshow freak, if you will, with like tiny little childlike hands to jack around with that, with this trigger spring and whatnot. So it was just painful. But I'm gonna get up my knife. I gotta go drop this stone in some water to let it soak up some water, and then be back at it. All right, pause that. So you can see it's already building up a bit of metal on the stone. This is the 4000 grit side. So, you know, in theory, again, this isn't an instructional video, so I don't do instructional stuff because I don't know enough about anything to instruct anybody on. There we go. Do that a little bit. But you pull into your blade rather than pull away. You can pull away too. You're supposed to one side, the other side, one side, but I usually do multiple strokes one side, flip it over, and do the same amount of strokes on the opposite side. And then also I do some circle. I get into some circling motions as well, and I'll do this for a little bit. Like I said, this already got a pretty good edge on it, so I won't have to do this for too much, but I'll do a few on this side of the stone, do some more on that side of the stone. And what I do have is, get it out of here with one hand. And then I do have this, which is harder than the sharpening stones to true them out again. So I try to use that after I get done grinding. You can see that's from the yellow, from the 8000 grit side. Just to keep it true, because you are wearing stone away as you sharpen your knife or whatever it is you have at hand to sharpen. So I'll do a few more on this side, then I'll flip it over and hit the 8000 grit side, and that should tidy me up. I'll run it on the strop a few times upstairs, and that'll be good to go again. See what I did there, if you caught that. I don't know if it was in frame or not, but I got a little bit aggressive, and it will peel some of the stone away if you don't watch it. Like that. I'm not perfect at it, but I do get a pretty good edge on my stuff. And then I think I have an extra bit of toilet paper towel. Good Lord. I kind of do this just to, one, to get more moisture back in it, but two, to kind of lift some of that metal off of it that I've been creating, which it is nice. My understanding, it can get a little bit of a slurry made on this, you know, when you I probably don't put as much pressure on as I should. Sometimes I'll sit here and do this quite a bit, especially on a knife that doesn't have an edge, and I catch myself not putting much pressure on. But as soon as you put a little bit of pressure on the blade, it does get moving pretty quick with sharpening it up. That's for sure. And then I also try to hold it in the light, and I can see just the reflection on the sharpened side. I can kind of see where there's marks, and boy, I tell you. not feeling it. I'm trying to look at it. It's getting there, but it's just not feeling it. So anyway, this is what I do to sharpen my knives. You can see it. It is getting material off onto the stone here. Okay, so I flipped it to the 8,000 grit side, and so I'm gonna run a few strokes up and down the 8,000, and then do some swirls. But it's getting there. The 8,000, and then my strop, that'll put it back on. Then I have some oil upstairs as well, that I'll use on the brass and the blade, and it cleans it up. Kind of gives it a protective shine, and it'll be good to go again for my sheath. But this is my pretty much most of my everyday carrying around knife that on my belt, as I mentioned. It's just, I just, for some reason, I just clutched onto this one. Thin, good blade. You know, it's nothing fancy, but it's functional, and it's got a little bit of weight to it. You know, it's not like balanced or anything like that. But opening boxes, whatever I do around, you know, it's just a lot of times it's just quick to grab a pocket knife. I usually carry a knife with me no matter where I go. It's a habit I kind of picked up. So let me get on with the 8,000 grit side here. All right, so that's that. 8,000 grit, got a pretty good edge on it. I'll clean my stone up, and I'll true it up with my true block to true it up. And then when I head upstairs, I'll put this on the strop for a few strokes, and that will be that. So that's me sharpening my knives. Anyway, peace. And so this is what I use to true the stone back up. It is a Negura stone. That's what it is. So works pretty well to true the sharpening stone back up. You can kind of see where I had left some metal on this, and see where it's lightening up and where it's not. That just kind of gives you an indication of where it's true and not true, if you will. So that's what I do to true this up. You can see the sheen on the strop from the knives. You can refresh it with wiping it down with new olive oil. It's pretty cool.